Bonjour mes frères et mes sœurs. Consider this piece of wood. It's so beautiful. The nature people do have a point, honestly. Like, if we would notice, if we would meditate more upon the other words, the non-word words of God, we would get him better, I think. Speaking of God's mindset, what does it mean to walk by faith and not by sight? Does it mean that you have to have no confidence at all in any of your plans, in any of the immediate things you're working towards, and only have confidence that someday I shall be with God and that God is in control of all things, and basically step forward completely blind in your daily life, which is actually impossible and doesn't make any sense? And yeah, I don't think that's what it means, even though I've kind of heard these ideas vaguely that, like, if you have an idea of where your life is going, then you're not surrendered and you're not living by faith. Or if you're pouring yourself 100% into trying to make a certain, like, temporal project come about, you're not living by faith because God could always intervene and you don't know what's going to happen. I have what information I have, and I have what information God's given me, and I'm using my God-given brain. My favorite phrase in preaching is, like, when people say, "Look me in your God-given eyeballs." It's just very funny to me for some reason. Anyway, I'm using my God-given brain to rationally construct plans and do them. I don't think that's against faith. But, sometimes your plans fall into chaos, and then what do you have to cling to? And then you're like, oh my goodness, what is my life? And if you don't have another, deeper kind of faith, you're going to kind of build everything off of your immediate life, and then it's bad. So I think that's what we're trying to avoid. But I think there's a way to avoid that. I think there's two levels to it. So faith, as defined by one of my Bible college teachers, is hope and patience. And I think that pretty much checks out. Like, you have a hope, a certain vision of reality in the future, or like a deeper reality, a kind of underlying what you can see. And then you're living, waiting for that and kind of preparing for it as best you can. Living in light of that, believing that it is coming, and therefore doing your best to bring it about. I think that's faith, and that's why, like, people say, faith is a verb, faith is an action, it's work, etc. Because if I truly believe that, like, the world is meaningless and is going to nothing, I'm probably not going to be very motivated to get up in the morning and work on my poetry. That's like an example of a really negative faith. Or if I believe that I'm going to have a child in 8 months and I'm, like, pregnant, I'm going to be going and buying buying kids clothes and, like, getting a nursery ready and stuff. So we all live by faith. What I would say, we all, like, live by faith in that sense all the time about something. It's just a matter of what is your hope, and do you have an accurate series of hopes that you're putting your faith in, or your patience in. And I think that in this case there are two, like, legitimate levels that are both part of faith. The first one being what we mostly think of when you talk about faith and not sight, which is keeping in mind God's sovereignty over the universe and keeping in mind, like, his eternal plan, that to bring about his kingdom and make the kingdoms of this world the kingdoms of our God, and he shall reign forever and ever, and we will reign with him, and the earth will be perfected, and sin and death are going to be gone, and it's going to be beautiful forever and ever, and we're going to be in glorified bodies, and no more sickness, and no more, issues and stuff. So living in and love being the, like, primary force that's genuinely going to be throughout the whole universe without the current kind of rebellions against it. So that is, like, the final hope, and I think that's the thing that doesn't move, and that's the unmovable faith, hope, that you can cling to in the middle of whatever immediate circumstances, and in the middle of whatever messing up of your more temporal plans and your more temporal hopes. But just because you have that final hope, I think, doesn't mean that you shouldn't put confidence and work and hope into your life now, that you can see more like, because if I truly believe that that's my final hope is to be part of the new creation, then how am I going to live my like present life? And what kinds of plans am I going to make? So I think that that it's legitimate, and we all know this, like, because we all have to do it in order to live, but like it's a legitimate part of Christianity and faith to have short-term and long-term goals and life plans. And not only to have those, but to like construct them, use all the information you have, use the biblical principles use what God has shown you in your heart, what you want to do with your life, use the circumstances that are around you, figure out something to like be working towards. And then I believe that we're sanctioned to like go for that if you think that it's good. If according to all of the information that God has given you right now, that's the right thing to do and that's a good thing to work towards, go for it, like 100%. And whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, in faith that that's what God, a legitimate option for you to be working towards right now. And like, then it's going to lead to good results, and that thing that you're hoping for will more or less happen. And I think that then, when inevitably some little or big thing is changed about that plan and like things don't exactly happen as you were expecting, I don't think that means, oh, you were wrong to put so much confidence in it in the first place, or, oh, like, you should have just kind of gone forward more blindly or gone forward more doubtingly, because that would just mean that, like, you would have to live constantly, like, in confusion. But rather, it just means you have to be, open to adjust with whatever are your more immediate plans, and recognizing that I may have hopes for the future, but the reality is going to be different, more complex, going to take more time. There's going to be, like, things that get in the way, etc., that I can't foresee, and that's okay. I mean, eternity is going to be different from what we think too. We have ideas, hopefully accurate ideas in principle, but yeah, I think like whatever are your plans, you should be confident that they're the best thing you could decide under the circumstances with the information you're given. Your surrender to God. Like that you're willing to adjust if He brings up some stuff that causes you to need to adjust. And so you can have confidence that, and you can have, I guess, faith in whatever are your current intentions for like your future, and knowing that if for internal or like external reasons that does fall apart, you still have eternity, you still have like the resurrection and new creation to cling to. So yeah, faith being having hope both for your eternity and the final kind of state of things, and also for hope also more immediately in like the next couple of years and things, what you want to do. Faith is hope and patience. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. And all of that I think applies. Like, Christians should be able to go forward with more confidence in their plans and in their goals than non-Christians, because we know like God will catch us and make up for our imperfections and mistakes.